Good morning to you all. I hope you're doing well today. Welcome to Totally Beads. Today we're going to be making some lovely necklaces with this lovely kind of fringe chain. So they are quite statementy. We've got a range of beautiful colours. I think there's 8 colour samples in total, and they're very straightforward to do. I'm just going to be cutting lengths of chain using little ball pins, just to do some little wrap loops on them, and then just stringing them onto some Tigertail. So it's a nice straightforward make, but I think it gives a very pretty design. You can of course change the length of these however you want to. I've used I think about 35 crystals up the top at the end of the fringe section, and you can definitely add more. I'm sure you're going to have plenty in your kit. Or if you want to, I'll be showing you how to attach a little bit of chain at the back to make it an extender as well, so you can have this to fit whatever size that you like. So I'll say a quick good morning to you all before I take you over to the website. It's a beautiful bright day here today. It's been a really nice bright weekend, so I'm hoping the weather is good wherever you're watching from. I'll say a quick good morning to Jan. She says, good morning, Natalie and everybody from a cloudy Sudbury. Linda's in as well in an overcast Watford, so maybe it's not as sunny and bright. Rachel says it's sunny in Barrow. Hello to Carol. Good morning to Camille. She says it's raining. Oh, raining where Camille is. So weather-wise, it's feeling like spring is finally on its way. I'll take you over to the website now. You can have a little look at all the lovely different colours that we've got. I'll pop that down on the floor for you. We've got so many to choose from. So hopefully there's something there that you like. Good morning to Esther, who says it's a beautiful sunny Preston. Brought the sun back with me from the holes. Well, you did. Thanks for that. Okay, so over we go to totallybeads.co.uk, where you can find your kits for today. We've named this the Lorraine necklace. I don't know why I named it that. Maybe just a little bit of rain dangles. So head into video tutorial section wherever you want to get into that. There's lots of different ways, and it's just here right at the top at the moment. So this is the Lorraine wrapped loop necklace. I feel like I'm going to have to put my teeth in today. Look at all the colours that we've got. So each necklace is just £4.99. And yeah, I think we've got 8 for you. So you can see we've got a silver plate, a royal blue, an orange gem. We've got a nude. There's that word again, nude. We've got a lime green. We've got a light blue. I'm so mature, aren't I? We've got a jet black. We've got an Apollo gold, which I absolutely adore. And today I think I'm going to demo the lime green for you. So I'll show you what you get. Each kit is pretty much the same. We've got some on silver and some on gold, so you can choose whichever you prefer. And then we're just changing the colour of those lovely coloured crystals. So the crystal round beads, I think, are 3mm in size. We've got your chain, we've got your Tigertail wire, your lobster clasp, your crib beads, your head pin balls. We've also got your jump rings and your culottes. So everything you need in your kit. In terms of tools, I would suggest 2 pairs of pliers, so you can cut your chain to length. You can just open those, they're not soldered rings on the chain. Of course, if you prefer to cut it, use your cutters. You're going to need them anyway for your Tigertail. You'll probably need a ruler, bead stopper, and of course something to make those lovely little wrap loops at the bottom of your dangles. So some round nose pliers, or if you prefer your bail step pliers, I think round nose do the job perfectly with this. So if I scroll down on this colourway, you can see this is the Apollo gold. They're absolutely beautiful. It's what I did show you on the bust. I'll show you them down on the mat as well. They've got the most beautiful bronzy gold coloured shimmer to them. Almost kind of a blush tone on some of them. And it's kind of like a halfy half. So half has got kind of like a clear, and then the other half's got like a coating. They are, of course, very, very faceted and therefore very, very twinkly. They catch the light just beautifully. And we've put this with the gold findings and the gold chain. The chain that we're using is 4x3, and that is oval, and it is gold plated. So all I'm going to be doing is cutting that to two different lengths, but I'm cutting lots of different sections of that just to kind of alternate them. So if I show you back on the design, you'll see they kind of stagger and then just give that lovely kind of flowing effect. So this one there is the Apollo Gold. We've got a silver colourway with the jet black. Very sophisticated. And you can see there that the crystal round beads are jet black shimmer and they are 3mm in size as well. And then we've got the same kind of measurement on the chain, just in the silver rather than the gold colourway. You can, of course, if you wanted to, buy a kit and then maybe change your crystals up, you could absolutely do that. You can multi-buy. So if you wanted to have this lovely jet black one, but you wanted it on the gold colour instead, you can do that, no problem. All the instructions will work just the same. This one is the beautiful light blue. All very, very twinkly. We've got the lime green here, which is very summery. This is on the gold. So you're going to get all of the things that you need to make up this one necklace, all of your beautiful crystals. You're going to get plenty. So I say you can add more onto that if you want to. If you wanted to adjust the length, and you're getting plenty of chain in there as well if you wanted to add that little bit of an extender. You can add more or less of these dangles as well if you wanted to. Or you could arrange them so you've got the longer ones in the centre graduating out into the smaller ones. You can do whichever design that you want. We've also got the nude colourway, which is very pretty. That is also on the gold. We've got this beautiful zesty orange. This is just sunny. I think this might look nice as well if you wanted to kind of mix your crystals. I think this one would look lovely with the lime green. It'd be very citrus and summery. So all of your findings will match whichever colourway. So for example, if you were to get this beautiful royal blue one, all of your chain, those ball pins, your lobster clasp, crimp beads, the whole lot would all be in the silver. I've just reminded myself I haven't got my crimp beads out at the ready, and I'm going to need them. Excuse me for rustling in my bag of goodies. And of course, if you were to get something on the gold colourway, then all of your findings would be in that lovely gold colour. This is the silver plate one. So scroll down so you can have a little look at those. And they've got a beautiful shimmer on them too. So I will show you them down on the mat. You can have a little look. So each of your kit today are all £4.99, and you can choose from those 8 colours, either on the gold or the silver. See which crystals you like the look of most. If you want to play along with me with the exact same thing, then you can just add those into your basket from the website. And you can make along with me here. Now this is the joy, isn't it, where I try and see if I can close this page. I just can't get used to the new layout. Let's make it big. And then if I make it small again, it should give me the option to hide. There I am. Let me say hello to those that have just come and joined us. Thank you for being with me today. Anastasia's wishing us all peace and love. It's 6:05 in the morning. A little bit raining, I think, where Anastasia's watching. Good morning from Mina. Hello to Kath. And good morning to Lisa as well. So I shall take you down on the mat and we can start making. She says I'll take you down on the mat. There you go. I'll get there eventually. So I've just started to lay out the bits that I'm going to be making with, just to show you some of the colours of these crystals if you have a look closely here. So this one is your Apollo Gold, and it's just gorgeous. So for me, it's kind of like a blush bronzy kind of tone, and they're very faceted and they're very, very pretty. We've got the gorgeous nude colour, You can see how the light catches them really lovely. This one here is your lovely silvery colour. So this one is called Silver Plate. Just hold them nice and close so you can see. Like little tiny disco balls. This one is your Royal Blue. Love that colour. That'd be gorgeous with the orange as well, wouldn't it? I'm quite liking the bold colourways at the moment. This is your gorgeous orange gem. Really, really beautiful colour. Very citrusy. Very bright and vivid. And you can see you can add an extender chain onto the back of this, no problem. So you can make that as long or as short as you want. Your lobster clasp that we're using today will fit into either the link of the chain or the jump ring at the back, so you can adjust that as you need to. Or of course you can add more or less crystals. This one is your jet black. So if you're wanting kind of a sophisticated look, I'd suggest you go for this on the silver to give you that little monochrome effect. This is the line that I'm going to be working with today. And lastly, but by no means least, we've got the light blue too, which would look gorgeous with the green too, I think. So they've got like a translucent kind of effect on these. And also, I think these are AB because you've got lots of shimmers and lots of lovely colours there as well. Where have my comments gone? Is that one? No, that one. There we go. So really straightforward and lots of different ways of putting this together. Obviously, I've made a colour sample. So what I did was I cut my chain to length first. So I'm cutting lots of lengths of chain. I want one size to have 15 links. Of course, this is all going to come in your kit. So if you're getting your kit from Totally Beads, you can just count the links in the chain. I've got 15 of those links, which works out as about 3.5 centimeters, and I'm using 9 sections of them. And then I've got a slightly smaller, which has got 9 links on the chain, so I've just counted that out, which works out at about 2 centimeters, and I need 8 of those. So 9 of the 15 links and 8 of the 9 links, or 9 of 3.5 centimeters and 8 of the 2 centimeters. So what I tend to do is I take my chain, I'm literally just gonna count as I go. So I tend to hold them with my pliers. I'd count my links and then I would just open it up. You can also cut a little length off if you want to have an extended chain on the back. So to find the centre, I usually just fold it in half. And then if I'm opening up my chain, you'll see it isn't soldered. So you can just take a pair of pliers and open it up just like you would do a jump ring. And then you can unattach and then close the chain back over. So I cut all my lengths of chain first. You can see I've already made some of them. I don't want to sit and do all of those wrap loops on a live because we'll be here all day. So today I'm just going to show you how to assemble it, but I will show you how to do. I've got 2 little samples ready to go to show you for each one. Good morning to Judith. Just sorry I'm late again, don't you worry. Christine's in as well. She says, morning all, got an unexpected visitor. Well, I hope hello to you and your visitor. Thank you for joining us. Mina says, green is this season's colour. I was told yesterday as a few ladies wanted green bracelets. Yeah, it's spring, isn't it? Especially when you've got this gorgeous, lovely, zesty lime colour. They just twinkle so pretty. So what you can do is you can assemble your necklace and pop your chain lengths on, and then you can pop your wrap loops on, which is what I did for most of the samples. Or you can attach your crystals with the wrap loops on first, and then you can just assemble it together. So if I want to make a little wrap loop, I'm going to get my ball pin out, and then I'm just taking one crystal. If you wanted to, you've got some lovely long pins in here, and I'm sure you've got additional crystals on your strand. You'll probably be having lots left, so you can, if you wanted to, add more than one crystal. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my bead onto the end, and then I'm going to make a little wrap loop. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I only want a small loop, so I'm bringing my pliers towards the end of I'm putting the pin towards the end of the pliers. As I said before, your pliers on a round nose are tapered, so the closer we get to the end of that point, the smaller the loop will be. As we go towards the handle, it gets wider, so if you want a larger loop, we're just going to move that up. You can, of course, mark with a little pen if you want to, make them all absolutely precise, but I think I know by just placing it round about here, I'm going to get a similar size for all of my pins. So what I do is I'm going to bend the pin, nice and soft pins, so they're strong and sturdy but supple enough to move with my fingers. And I'm just going to bend this over in kind of a right angle across the top of my jaw of my plier. And then I'm going to reposition my pliers so I can bring that pin. You can use your tools, but I'm just using my fingers for now. And I'm bringing that around the top of the plier. I'm then going to reposition my plier so I can get that wire right underneath. You can, of course, at this point, swap to your less dominant hand if you want to. And then I'm going to bring that all the way across and just reposition to make sure that that loop is nice and neat. So we want that loop to sit right above that pin, nice and central, and just sit above that crystal we've got there. Now what I tend to do is give it a little bit of a flick up, and I'm going to wrap that round, but before I wrap my loop I'm going to add my chain. If you don't, then you're not going to be able to reopen the loop, so you do have to open up the chain, but we want to keep our chain structurally sound and sturdy and secure. So I'm just going to take the last link of one of my lengths of chain, and I'm just going to slide that on into that loop. What you can do is you can take a pair of pliers. I should have some thinner ones here. You can either put them back onto your round nose and pop that round nose back in here just to hold it sturdy. You might want to just move your chain out of the way, so I'm just keeping it there. And then I'm just going to bring the tail end of the pin round, and I'm going to wrap. So I'm going to wrap it around about 3 times, and I'm just filling the space between the loop and the crystal. So doing little half turns, bringing it round the front and around the back, just to fill that space 2 or 3 times. I think I could get another one there. Just by keeping your pliers in, it just gives you a little bit of purchase. And if I kind of position that towards the table or my mat, then the crystal will fall down to the bottom of this little round point here, and I can just use that little bit of space just to fill it in. Now what we need to do is we need to remove any excess of that pin. So I'm just going to come in with my cutters, and I'm going to cut nice and close, holding on to the end of it just so it doesn't fire away, but also making sure that I'm not cutting that chain. And then I'm going to pop my round nose pliers back in, and then with my pliers I'm going to tuck in that little bit of the tail end, because we want to make sure there's nothing poking out and there's nothing catching. I've got my little chain bits there ready made, so they are taking the focus. So let me just move those out of the way. So I'm just making sure that that little piece of wire is all wrapped round. and then I've got my wrapped loop there. And I'm going to do that on all of my chain length. So I'm going to have my 15 links of chain, and I need 9 sections of those for this design. And then I've got my 9 links of chain, which is about 2 centimeters. I'm going to make 8 pieces of that up with 8 of the crystals dangling on the bottom. So just to show you again, if you want to, when you make that loop, you can pop your pliers over the top just to stop it moving, or you can pop it back into the round nose. Now, when I am turning a loop, I usually want to make sure that that pin is bent as close to that bead as possible. When I'm doing a wrap loop, the reason why I'm bending it over my pliers is because you'll see there's a tiny little bit of space then, between the bead and that bend, and that is the section that I'm going to be creating those wraps. So I'm repositioning my pliers so I can bring that wrap, that loop over the top, reposition again just so I can get it underneath and it's out the way. Struggling to focus, I'm too close. So it's looking like this. Don't forget to add your chain, and it's got to be the last link on the chain. So just popping that in there. And if you don't want to pop your round nose back in, you can always take a pair of pliers and just hold over if you want. That's just going to stop that loop from moving. I'm going to push that pin up slightly just so that first turn that I make, taking my chain nose, is going to come right up close. If I take that out, you can see that first wrap is going to be positioned right close up to the end of that loop. And I'm just going to fill in that space. So usually about 3 wraps should suffice, and they'll all be roughly about the same. I'm then going to come in and cut nice and close to the end of the excess wire. And then again, with my pliers, I'm just going to make sure that there's no little tail end sticking up. It's not going to catch on anything. Phoenix says the needle nose pliers are perfect for this. I do like especially using the bent nose ones, just because I tend to give it like a little twist as I go around, just to make sure that that is perfectly in place. And because I'm using quite a fine, delicate chain, I just find I can, hold over the loop without the plier getting in the way. If you've got a thick plier sometimes, but you can see there the chain nose will do just a good enough job to any pliers you've got. So how I'm going to arrange this, I'm going to start with one of my long lengths, and then I'm going to put my small length either side, and I'm just going to alternate them between the 3.5 centimeter lengths of chain and the 2 centimeter lengths of chain. So you can lay that all out on your mat in advance if you want to. I'm then going to take my tiger tail, and although I know how many I'm using on each side, I am going to just start from the middle out to just find it easier. So I'm going to cut about 40 centimeters of my tiger tail. Again, you can adjust this to your length. So if you want to add more crystals on to the main body of your necklace that goes around the back of the neck, then you absolutely can do. But I feel like this length is fine, really. And I'm just going to open up my strand of crystals. You can see you're getting a very, very, very long strand of crystals in here. It just keeps going and 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 going. So you've got plenty left. I've made multiple necklaces really out, and I've still got plenty left. But I'm just going to open up here. So I'm going to start with a long length of chain. Let me just get the bits I've pre-made out. And I'm going to pop on my 15 links first, and that's just going to go on the last link, and I'm just going to thread my tiger tail, so this is going to sit in the center. I'm then going to add 3 of my crystals to each side. One's got a little bit of the plastic off. So I just keep hold of the 2 ends of my tiger tail. Phoenix says, magpie sparkly. They are very pretty, these crystals. They will catch the sunlight really nicely. So I'm just popping on 3 crystals onto each side. So I tend to just hold both of my pieces of tiger tail up together really well and just sliding these on. They are very sparkly, it's hard to find the drill hole. And then they will also drop down to the center, so it will sit like this. I'm then going to take 2 of the shorter pieces, so my 2 centimeters or my links, 9 links of chain sections, and I'm going to pop them onto each side as well. So I'm starting to get that kind of staggered effect. And again, you can change how you want these positioned. I'm placing 3 crystals onto each side because I think it just staggers out the chain nicely and evenly. But if you wanted to do less, then the chain sections will be closer together. And if you wanted to add more crystals on in between, then they would, of course, be further apart. So 3 crystals onto each side. And then back to the longer length chain. So whatever I'm putting onto one side, I'm putting onto the other. Making sure that they are going on the last link of the chain. And I find that just by holding those 2 ends of the tiger tail together, I just find it's easier to work off both sides. Nothing's going to fall off. And I'm making sure it's fairly even and they're falling into the center. Back to the smaller section again. So I'm starting off with 115 section. When I say 15 section, I mean 15 links of chain. The reason why I've got 9 of those is there's going to be 1 in the center and then 8 of the shorter lengths. So it's really easy to assemble. I do prefer to cut my chain length first, and then I can just thread them directly onto the tiger tail. And then you're going to have your spacing nice and even. You're going to struggle to string on your beads first and then try and pop your chain in between, because your beads will obviously be sitting up close and tight to each other. So now I've got the 2 smaller sections. I'm going to use the larger again. And you can change up how you want your lengths of chain to be. If you don't want them to be this long, of course you can make them shorter or whatever you like. You can adjust them to preference. You can see as the necklace curves, they'll start to sit like this. It's quite quick to assemble. And when I did originally do it, I just popped the chain lengths on, and then I added my wrap loops on afterwards. But it could be a little bit fiddly doing it that way. So just adding on 3 crystals in between each piece of chain. You can see how it's starting to take shape already. Making sure they're going on the last links so that they sit at the right point. Three crystals onto each side. Alternating back to the shorter length of chain. And then the last little cluster of 3. And then finishing with the longer length of chain again. So the chain, which is cut into about 3.5 centimeters, will be in the middle and then at the end, and it will look like this. And all you need to do now is just string on as many crystals as you want for the main frame of your necklace. So I'm just going to take a little bead stopper and just pop that onto one side for now so it doesn't fall off. And then I think at least 35 crystals is a good length for me for where it sits on my neckline on each side, but then that's up to you again if you want to alternate that. A quick way of just stringing crystals on, if it's going directly from the string onto the tiger tail, is I just line the tiger tail up with it, and then I can just slide and transfer them over from one side to the next. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm just pushing them up with my finger. So I just find that's a quicker way of doing it. I'll just count how many I've got there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 30. 1, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. I'll do 40 then. did have at least 35 on each side. So I'm just going to string those on, and of course whatever I do onto one side I want on the other. So I'm just going to swap that bead stopper over just so they don't fall off while I add the same amount of crystals onto the other side. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15. 20. 'Just lining that up to be able to get one side through the other, and then just pulling out the tiger tail. Lost count. I'll just string on and then I'll count them afterwards. See how many we've got there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if you lay them up next to each other as well, you should be able to see that I've got the same amount on. But you want to make sure that they're even on both sides, and then your little bits of tassel and chain will hang nice and evenly in the centre. So all I need to do now is just attach my findings. So I'm going to get that curve. I know, Phoenix, sorry about all the counting. Could have been worse. You could have been watching me count all the chain links. I did it in advance. Thanks, Pauline. She says it looks very pretty. So I'm just going to get that nice curve in my necklace. So I've got my chain, and it's not going to be buckled. It's going to be sitting nice and flat. And then I'm just going to take out my culottes and my crimped beads. Move that out the way. I do love this colour, it's such a lovely zesty colour. So I'm going to be using 4 crimp beads because I like to double crimp, it keeps it nice and sturdy for me. I'm going to start off with my culotte, and you can as well bring the tiger tail back down through if you wanted to, but I'm just going to add on my first crimp bead. And I'm going to drop that right down. You can bring it up to the end of the tiger tail, but I'm just going to position it here for now. And I'm going to tuck that right in inside the culotte and give it a little flatten down. Those crimp beads won't need a crimp cover because they'll be hidden by that culotte. And now that culotte won't move because those 2 crimp beads fix nice and tightly. I'm just going to trim off the excess tiger tail just close to that crimp bead and close it over with my fingers, getting it all nice and lined up. And a little bit of pressure just to close it over. And then I'm going to take my bead stopper off, and I'm just going to push up just to make sure that all those beads just push up nice and close to the culotte. But again, getting that nice curvature in my necklace. And then I just need to add on my next culotte. So the tiger tail is going to go up through that little hole in the centre. I'm going to add on my first crimp bead, take that little bit of fluff off, and let that crimp bead fall inside of the culotte, and just coming in with a pair of pliers just to flatten the crimp bead down, nice and close to the bottom of the culotte, adding on an extra crimp bead just for added security. Flattening that down too. Cutting off that excess. And then I'm going to close over the culotte with my fingers first, just to line those little bits up, those holes at the end. And then with my chain nose, just going to press gently just to close that up. And then I can add on my clasp. Now, if I've got to the point where I've not put as many crystals on, or I want to make this extendable, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add on some extra jump rings and a little bit of an extender chain. So you can have one length of extender chain on one side, or you can cut two equal bits, so maybe about 5 centimeters or so. Obviously, if I'm popping 5 centimeters on each side, that's going to give me an extra 10 centimeters in length. And that will give me that little bit of, leftover crystals probably to play with. So I'm going to take a jump ring, which again will be in your kits today, and I'm going to slide that through the 2 holes in the culotte and one section of my chain. Again, I'm popping it onto the last link in that chain that I've cut, and then just make sure that my jump ring is nice and fully closed. And then I'm going to add an extra one onto the end. So just taking the jump rings and putting them through the links in the chain. Of course, if you're getting your kit from us today at Totally Beads, then all of your jump rings are going to fit nicely through the links in the chain. If you're using maybe some of your own materials, you just need to make sure that it fits through. And again, you can add your lobster clasp onto that section if you wanted and close it there, or you can add your extra section of chain, close it up, and then get your lobster clasp out. So the lobster clasp in your kit, whether you've got the gold or the silver colourway, is going to be 12 millimeters. So it's a nice size. It's delicate, but it's not too fiddly. And then I'm just going to attach that onto there and close that up. Give it a little wiggle just to make sure it's fully aligned. And then you can fasten your necklace like so. And there you have it. There is your Lorraine necklace. They are Lorraine wrap loop necklaces. They're all £4.99. You can get them on the Totally Beads website in Apollo Gold, Jet Black, Light Blue, Lime Green, Nude, Orange Gem, Royal Blue or Silver Plate. Hopefully there is a colour that you will like. I'll show you this on the bust so you can see how it looks. If I can make this one bigger. Yeah. So this is the one that I've just made with the extender chain. And you've got that lovely chain fringe. They all dangle really nicely just because I've been placing those 3 crystals in between each chain section. And, you know, I'm kind of sitting in the shade today, but already I think you can see the twinkle on that is very pretty. Phoenix says it's so lovely to catch you live with hot milk, a Sprocker Spaniel, and the wind blowing like mad outside. Does the lobster go through that chain to shorten it? Let me try for you. It should do. Oh, let me have a look. I mean, you can pop your jump rings on at whatever point that you want, and then you've got the extender that way. But you can just place it through the chain. Oh. It will go. It did before. So you can make it. Oh, I've got my nail caught in the lobster clasp. Ah. So you can adjust it that way, but I would tend to use, when putting it on, it's less fiddly, so I would tend to put it through the jump ring itself, but you probably could get it through the links on the chain as well. And then if you wanted to, you could always add an extra crystal if you've got a little ball pin and just dangle that off the back. So you've got that little kind of little feature, I suppose, at the back of your neckline as well. Phoenix says, nice earrings, Nat. Thank you very much. It was the Tansy earrings that we made last week, I think they were. So you can head over to the website there if you want to have a little look at those. Jan says it's beautiful. Thank you very much. Camille says pretty colours and necklace. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be back with you on Wednesday. We've got a little bit of a let me just hide that. A little bit of a rewind Wednesday, I suppose. So on Wednesday, I'm going to be doing the briny bracelets that I did with you a little while back, but we've put some lovely new colours together with that. So if you can join me then, that would be lovely. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. I hope you all have a really lovely day. Don't forget to check out the website, see if we've got some additional offers and things like that coming up. We are also, Totally Beads are going to be Simon is going to be at the, I think it's the NEC. There's like a sewing kind of bead fair coming up this weekend. So he's going to be there. And I'm going to be down at the warehouse in Clacton this weekend. So lots of fun and busyness to keep me going. So I hope you all have a really lovely week and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.